A very good morning to all of you. I'm Professor Shireen Murthy, Assistant Professor of Law and the Chairperson for the Committee for Academic Support on Higher Education and Learning, or CASHL. CASHL aims at advising and guiding JGLS students and alumni to pursue higher education in law and related disciplines. With this, I welcome you all to CASHL's 10th interactive webinar on Masters in Public Policy and Management from King's College London, What, When and How. This is a part of our higher education series. Today, we are privileged and honored to be graced by the presence of our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Samrat Rahi. His professional and academic achievements are par excellence and noteworthy. He is an engineer from the Delhi College of Engineering, an Indian Revenue Service officer, achieving scholar, and holds a postgraduate degree in Masters in Public Policy and Management from King's College London. If this was not enough, his scholarly work has been published in several journals of international repute, and he is an author of a best-selling book, A Romantic Girl. He's currently the Deputy Chairman of the Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port in Kolkata under the Ministry of Shipping. Today, Mr. Rahi is going to discuss with us his experience of applying to and studying MSc in Public Policy and Management at King's College London as a Chevening Scholar. He's also going to shed some light on his journey of serving as a career civil servant. Welcome, Samrat. I would like to invite you for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Shri. Thank you for inviting me, giving this wonderful introduction, and I would love to interact and with the audience, and I hope that this particular platform will help them to prepare for the application for foreign education as well as for civil services also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samrat. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of my team at CASHL in today's webinar. Welcome all. Professor Animesh Bordole is a discussant for today's webinar. He's an Assistant Professor of Law, member CASHL, and Assistant Director and Assistant Dean, Center for Postgraduate Legal Studies at JGLS. Professor Animesh will be taking questions towards the last 15 minutes. Please use the Q&A feature on Zoom or send us your questions on YouTube, which we will be taking towards the other half of the webinar. So, Samrat, my first question to you really is that how did you decide to pursue a master's in public policy and management from King's College London? You were already thriving in your career as a civil servant. What made you think that a master's is something that is right for you? And why did you sort of apply for this particular program at King's College London?
Thank you, Shane, for asking this question. I would like to present you kind of a realistic picture and whatever happened in my journey. After some point in my career, I decided that I should pursue a foreign education from a foreign university. So initially, I was trying for Lee Kuan School of Public Policy at Singapore, and in a particular academic year, I got the admission on partial scholarship. But then after discussing with few people, and I got to know about the Chevening scholarship and studying in London, and I found that that's a much more fulfilling and academically rewarded, as well as from the career point of view also, it is much better than pursuing from Singapore, because UK and in particular London has a completely different ecosystem for the students, which is quite helpful in their career as well as develop personality as well. So then I started browsing through Chevening, started browsing websites for what are the basic features of this particular scholarship and how I should pursue different colleges. Then I got to know that this particular scholarship needs 3 institutes, in fact, universities, and at the same time, the course that I want to pursue. So, I think all of us should be very, the students in particular, we should be very selective about the course that they are going to pursue, because in my opinion, all the 3 courses should be similar. Maybe the nomenclature or name can be different in different universities. So that is the first step I also worked on. And after that, the selection of colleges is very important. So about the colleges, as the people who have studied in London, or the people who have explored the possibilities of studying in London, they know that in London itself, around 6 very reputed colleges are there, apart from University of Oxford and University of Cambridge. So then, since I wanted to study particularly in London, but it is not that I did not fill up the application for Oxford and Cambridge. I did fill up. So for London, the colleges, as you know, that like UCL is there, LSE is there, King's is there, Imperial is there, Queen Mary is there, and SOAS is there. So these are the 6 major colleges that normally students apply. And as far as the course in my particular case is concerned, since I belong to Indian Revenue Service, and like there are 2 major verticals that we have to expand our career in future. So one is public policy and another is LLM. So I found public policy more attractive because it opens up a number of possibilities, a number of assignments. Because coming from a kind of a bit technical background in Indian Revenue Service, because we particularly deal with the tax matters. But since public policy is related to every other department, so definitely that opens up a lot of career opportunities for the civil servants. So I opted for public policy. Then again, in public policy, there are 2 particular aspects, as I understood. That one is plain public policy, that is that the universities are running, that is Master in Public Policy, and that is available at King's, UCL, LSE, all these universities. And there's another part which is public policy with some specialization, you can say, or with like with some added benefits. That is, for example, in King's it is public policy and management. In UCL and LSE, I think it's public policy and administration. And most important, these particular courses are governed by School of Management or Faculty of Management. So in fact, like this particular course, MSc in Public Policy and MSc in Public Policy and Management is run by King's Business School. So in fact, it is much more beneficial in terms of career. So I opted for these courses. And so once the course selection and college selection is complete, then as you know, like there is a SOP, statement of purpose, that we need to write. So I worked on it, like, and what I understood during the process, that we should not be very cluttered, or we should not have like fragmented thoughts. We should have on a particular topic or on a particular aspect, we should gather our strengths as well as like our work experience and our career profile, and accordingly we should parawise, we should concentrate on that. So that is the way I started writing my first draft. And once the first draft is complete, I think like it underwent a number of editing, modification, improvement, processing. So that is the way, like every next draft was much better than the previous draft. So that is the way, like my statement of purpose was prepared. And definitely, like CV or biodata is very much relevant these days. And like there are various tools, as well as like there are various kind of online platforms available which help you in presenting your CV in a very powerful and impactful manner. So seeing on that is available, some of them are freely available also on Google search and all. So accordingly, I prepared my CV, and that's it. Like that was the process, that was the application process. And definitely during this process, I took help of some of my senior colleagues, and like some of the people who can make a value addition in that. So that is very helpful. And last but not the least, like during when we were preparing that time, because like we cannot think of getting admission into any college unless the funding is available. So and since Chimning was there, that's why at that particular point of time, I was knowing about the Chimning scholarship only. Now I know about other scholarship also, and like people are also knowing that, for example, Commonwealth is there. For example, Tata is running few scholarships, and few international scholarships are also available. And the scholarship dedicated to South Asia are also available. So because Chevening and the college application process was so integrated that I always saw it as a joint process instead of a separate process. So at that time, not much information, data, or videos are available. But I remember your video was there. That was the only video at that particular moment of time, and it was a kind of a guiding light for all of us. So it also helped me in preparation of my application process.
That's very sweet of you to highlight. But on a very serious note, so you have actually broken down the process of applying for the admission as well as the scholarship in a very strategic manner. So research is key to all that is there, right? The research is key to all that is there. So you researched properly with respect to the course that you wanted to apply for. It was not purely an academic pursuit for you because you also linked it with your professional journey ahead, which means that your course has to sort of contribute to your career ahead. You looked at the courses available, you looked at which course would be most suitable to your profile in the future, you looked at the university, and then the question of funding arrived because it is very important. It can be very expensive to pursue higher education abroad, and Chevening is one of those scholarships that covers all your expenses, and all that you need to do there is that you have to focus on your academics, gain that exposure, make friends, have that multicultural experience, which you wouldn't otherwise have. So it is very interesting how you had this academic pursuit and you went about it in a very consistent and a very strategic manner. You also pointed out that you did not shy away from speaking to friends, colleagues, alumni of these courses, and also the scholarship in order to get a perspective on how can you best present your profile to the committee, whether be it the admission committee or the scholarship committee. And this is something that is very important and can make a difference between a selected applicant and somebody who is not selected because they haven't done their research. They're looking for a type of person to be awarded the scholarship or the admission. And even if you have the profile, but you do not have the presentation and you do not know what you're aiming at, it could be a very risky endeavor for any applicant. So now, with this, my next question to you, Samrat, is that when we are applying, there are mistakes that we are going to make. And there are also some things that work in our favor, and therefore we become successful in getting admissions or scholarships in these higher education institutions. These are very competitive sort of processes, and a lot of students and increasingly a lot of people are now moving abroad for these higher education courses because maybe those courses are not available in India, or if they are available, they are much developed outside, or people want that global exposure for at least a year. So what are the things that you think, probably 2 or 3 things that worked for you, the do's of the application process, and what are the things that you think you might have avoided and that could have saved you the necessary sort of the time and the heartbreak that follows? So what are those? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Surin, for asking this question because this is one of the most vital factor while preparing for the application process. So to begin with, what I would like to say that first of all, we should read the questions carefully. What is being asked, and because like we should stress upon the words that they have used, the college or university has used, because on those particular areas only we have to. It is better like to constrain ourselves into those particular points or ideas or thoughts, whatever they want, whatever they present in their questions. So read the question carefully. That is the first thing. And second thing, what I have experienced that like since it is almost two and a half year almost, like I have completed my masters. So I have come normally I come across various application that various cases as well as like application draft that people present to me. So what I have found that in most of the cases the thoughts are cluttered and it is not concentrated at a place. And when they are talking about on a specific area of their career or their academic qualification, then they should stick to that. And again, the language as well as like the presentation is very much important. So I think like working on language again and again is very important. People should do. Because like since we may have a very powerful academic or professional background, but unless it is not we cannot see it on paper, then it is not the whole exercise is kind of a futile exercise that will be. So it is very important that we point down our strengths, our career, the main major goals that we have achieved in academic as professional career, and then we start writing on those points in para-wise manner in the very first draft, because statement of purpose and CV are the main documents that universities see. So that is the area where like most of the students need to work. And again, very clearly mention your what you want, what are your future plans, in which particular area you want to do if it is asked by the university, because that is also very important for the college. They want to know, like, if somebody is coming in their kind of 30s or like late 20s, what are their future plans, and like how they can, in turn, how they can benefit the college as such, in terms of like fame and name and fame. So these are the areas, like, I think the student should like clearly monitor. And what further I would like to say that it is the justification of the college and course, that is also very important. Like, why you want to pursue this particular course, how it will how it is related to your past experience, academic as professional, how it is going to help you in future in terms of and what you can give to the society at large after doing this particular course. So this is very important. And again, like, the college want, like, you justify why you want to take admission in this particular college only. Why not? So like, I think normally people write the usual things that we can write is the ranking and the kind of reputation the college has. But we should move ahead of this, and we should include more things, like about the particular course, the kind of the people who are teaching over there, and the kind of alumni this particular course has generated. So all these factors should be taken into consideration, I think. But again, the major point is what I think, like, the drafting is one of the major point, according to your character.
Absolutely. Those were really words of wisdom from somebody who has been successful not only at getting an admission at a top university, but also getting the prestigious Chevening scholarship. One thing that is that came out from the points that you've made really is that you need to be clear about your agenda. Why a particular course? Why a particular university? Also, it doesn't matter how prolific you are unless you are able to present it in the right way in the application itself, because they are going to sort of know about you only through your application. There are no interviews that are involved. Of course, for the Chevening, there's an interview, but it's at a much later stage. So your first introduction to the committee is really with respect to your application materials. And while the SOP, the statement of purpose or the personal statement and the CV are your key documents, everything that you submit should be something that is crystal clear. There should be no sort of error in terms of language and spelling and all of that, because they take it very seriously. And the first point that you started with, Samrat, that one has to be careful with respect to all the instructions that there are on the website with respect to the application as well as for the scholarship or the admission, because they have put that after a lot of thought, and therefore they would like for you to read through it, and it will actually help you in drafting your application materials. So yes.
Before you go to the next question, two more things I would like to add. That we should not straight away take sentences or like kind of paragraphs or like thoughts from any online or offline source, because or we should also keep a watch that the sentence that we are framing is not a very regular sentence or a very common sentence, because again that dilute the value of the entire statement of purpose. And secondly, once the first draft is complete, I think like we should get it weighted by like whoever our friends or like mentors are there, and we should take positive criticism on that, and accordingly we should try to improve that. So these are the two other points that two other important points that I would like to add.
Definitely, those are really important, because once you prepare, it's not the end of it. If you draft your SOP, you have to circulate it amongst your friends, your professors, people who have already applied, who are studying there, and then they'll give you their valuable comments, and you can refine your statement of purpose till the time that your submission deadline arrives. And excellent point about not copying and pasting blindly from somebody else's statement of purpose, and that is actually detrimental to one's application, because the people who are in the committee are very experienced and they would know if you have copy and pasted somebody else's statement of purpose, because it would not be in line with your profile. Every statement of purpose has to be, and by the nature of it, it is going to be different. So coming to my next question, Samrat, so you had this humongous task of not only applying for your admissions, but also applying for various scholarships. And as you said, now you're much more aware of the scholarships that there are, and that could benefit these students. But how different was an application process for achieving scholarship as compared to that for the MSc in Public Policy and Management from Queen's College? What was the difference in both of them, and how did you tackle both of these applications?
Yeah, Shane. As you know, like that, like for the colleges, like it is, I think, specifically a statement of purpose. But Chimney try to touch upon the wider area and want to have a kind of a microscopic details of your personality. So they have like 4 questions, as in like as most of the participants also must be knowing. So one is related to the leadership, another is related to like why you want to pursue this particular course from London and from particular college, as well as like what are the takeaways like that would like to take from like while you're staying in London, and like what is the thing that you can give to the society or overall. So there's a lot to think upon, there's a lot to brainstorm and then start writing on this particular aspects. But still like you should be frank and truthful on that, like whatever your expectations are. And like because like London is very different from like London and United Kingdom is very different culturally, socially, like from India. And right now they are working on kind of higher human values or humanitarian values like diversity, inclusion, and kind of um, cultural values like while writing all these things, you should like for example like for what you can contribute after getting the tuning scholarship. Then you think like you should start thinking on that uh, that uh, that area like that once you got successful, you have completed the course and like you are achieving a scholar. Now how you can contribute to the your country as well as like the global population after pursuing and that course. So there were 4 questions I also worked on it, and since I'm from a civil servant, I wrote in an area like that like I can influence and affect the policy matters. I can definitely push something which is relevant to both the countries. And since after going over there, we meet people from all countries and people from different ethnicities. So all these things help us in maturing as a human being also. And there's a lot of prospect for the personality development over there. So all these things I mentioned in my the 4 questions. But again, I will say that these are the vital issues that one need to consider before preparing for his application process and start writing, because on the basis of these 4 questions only, they normally judge you. And about the interview process, I would like to say that the interview process is more or less again constrained to those 4 questions and your biodata, your like academic achievements, your professional achievements, and you also get the opportunity to like mention those academic and professional achievements in your 4 questions. So these are the things I think like while preparing for the achieving scholarship I took into consideration. And again, reference also matters a lot. A letter of referee. So like while choosing a referee, we should choose someone like who is like with whom we have a kind of a direct experience, direct working experience, or direct teaching experience. So that are the factors.
Yes, I think that's a lot of information, and really something that is very helpful for students who would be applying for the cheating scholarship. So just little bit about the 4 questions. So when we're talking about the cheapening scholarship as opposed to your admission application, so admission application has this simple personal statement or statement of purpose that you write, and then you have the curriculum vitae. You are also giving them your letters of recommendation, and there'll be an application form. But for the cheapening, as you rightly said, there are these 4 questions, 500 words each, that you need to tackle separately. So within the application form, after those mundane details, these are the 4 things that are going to decide whether you'll be called for an interview or not. The first question is really with respect to leadership. The second question is with respect to your networking skills. The third question is to do with the courses that you choose, why you have chosen those courses, and the universities that you're going to aspire to study in. And the fourth question is with respect to your future career choices. There are 2 things that I just would like to highlight for the students, is that when you talk about all of these questions should highlight your work in the past and how you're suitable for the scholarship. And as far as possible, there shouldn't be a repetition in all of those. And in a way, you have to connect your current work with your studying abroad as a cheapening scholar and with your future aspirations. And that is the purpose of those questions. And what worked for me as a applicant at that time was that I gave them case studies of how I've been a leader, how I've been a networker, and how those skills are something that I would like to hone when I'm abroad. Those things work. Would you like to share something about your interview experience, something that was unusual, or something that was, I mean, was it a good experience? Of course, you got it at the end, but how did you feel once you were outside that room after the grilling session that happened?
Yeah, like, about cheapening, like normally in 2009 till 2019, I think like still it is relevant. Until that time, like I got like what people used to tell, that it is very prestigious, very definitely it is very prestigious, very sought after, and like out of like so many application in thousands or lakhs, only 50 candidates are selected for the final scholarship. So I was a bit nervous on this particular thing, that like whether I will get selected or not. But well, once like while entering the interview room, and they make you normally very comfortable, and whatever like since I talked to the previous cheapening scholars, so they told me on the same thing, that like be restricted to the 4 questions, as well as like your professional and academic career. So I found like they normally stick to this, and definitely since I come from civil services, so like there were few more questions about the civil services, and like what is your job profile and all, and it was quite enjoyable, and like I think it was like 30 minutes around, like the interview was, so it was comfortable.
I know you got off easily, because I got a question. The question that they asked me is, who's your idol and what are you going to do once you're outside? Once you're in London, and what are you going to do apart from your academics? So for my idol, I said Gandhiji is my idol, and it started talking about non-violence and Britishers and all of this. And I was sitting in the British High Commission when I was making these statements. So it was a little bit funny, but they took it in the right stride. Also, generally, when you are a subject expert, for example, my subject is law, you were an engineer. So generally, in the panel, you would have one of these subject experts who would be there. Generally, I've seen that in the panels. I'm not sure if that happened with you, but they're not going to grill you on the technicalities, but you might as well be aware of what is happening in the contemporary developments, and you might be aware of the current affairs, because you shouldn't be somebody who's not aware of their surroundings, because they take that very seriously, because you are an ambassador of India in the UK, you're representing India, so you might as well be well informed outside your discipline as well. So that is also one thing that I tell applicants.
Like they are very much concerned about the leadership skills, and like how in future, what are your prospects, how you can benefit India and UK both, how you contribute to the India UK relationship. These are the factors that are very vital, I think. And normally uh, uh, they are looking for community leaders, in fact, like how not like somebody who's a kind of a national leader or something, like how you can make a difference around your society, around your like locality where you are living, And since like the issues that are quite on the forefront are like environment and
Education, health, sanitation, all of these.
environment, uh, uh, child labor, education, and all these issues are where if you have make a difference, definitely it will be counted in your chimney application and as well as scholarship. Because the issues that and frankly speaking, the issues that are concerning the developed countries are more relevant for them as well as like developing countries as well for so that is it.
Definitely, and also they have these areas that they come up with every application season and say this is UK and India partnership areas. So if your sort of work profile falls into that area, then you should sort of model your application in that way. And also you might be doing 10 different things, but you have to focus your application on 2 or 3 of those things. Otherwise, the committee would not know that where are you headed or what is your focus, because focus is very important. As you have been saying, clarity, focus, uh, your application has to be very concise and has to be directed towards a particular sort of committee, as opposed to making this general application and sending it everywhere. General applications don't generally work. My next question now, Samrat, to you is that of course you have had a great academic experience at King's College London, but what were some of the cultural experiences that you had, and what are some of the takeaways from your year in London? And how have you sort of inculcated those things in your career as a civil servant?
Culturally, as you know, like it's a very altogether very different place, and where since I was living in central London and in a good enough college, so that's altogether a different experience, because that is the hostel, or like you can say like the accommodation where people from different countries are staying like adjacent to each other, and normally like every week or every fortnight they organize cultural event as well as outdoor activities. So there it helped us to understand and to meet and understand with people from different countries, as well as their cultural program, their their food, as well as their customs, and like the kind of social and political structure is existing in that particular country. So after learning from all these people and experiences, I found that there are various kind of societies, and there are various kind of uh, uh, countries that
Cultures and yes.
it was and in our classroom also there were people the student is a mix of different kind of people from different section. Some of them are very fresh, and some of them are have a sufficient professional experience. So and they also try to keep a balance between the gender in terms of gender, as well as people as well as countries. So overall it's a good balance. And at the same time, whatever the activities were going on during that time in the UK, you also get benefit out of it because they have altogether different festivals and different kind of social and cultural activity over there.
Absolutely, and the fact that sitting in India, we think the developed countries don't have challenges, but one gets surprised that they have equally the same kind of challenges that we have. The proportion might be less, sometimes it's even more than what there is in India, but it's not a sort of a perfect society even in developed countries. And that is something that you realize when you speak to people from those countries, and your experience of their challenges also changes. And of course, the sort of environment in London and the vibe of the city itself is so energetic that you become an explorer. So you visit all of these museums, you visit all of these monuments and all of these things, and you actually spend days together, sort of, you know. Experiencing the beauty of those structures and the markets and all of that, then also opens up your perspective with respect to how diverse things can be. And of course the food and all of those are also a part of the culture itself.
At the end of the day, like we realize that all of our same on human level, and like we have same kind of desires, passion, ambition, and even like we enjoy in the similar kind of activities, whether it's a sports or like it's a drama or it's film. So like that we realize that theoretically we know, but like after going over there and meeting, interacting with these guys, we really uh, we realize this on like practically also.
Yes. Lastly, before we move on to the last question for this, is that when you're talking about these application materials, Samrat, so we have the statement of purpose, we have the curriculum vitae, we have an application form, we have these letters of recommendation, right? There's a lot to sort of prepared for an application. So what do you think the timeline for application should be, and how should the students begin their process of sort of researching the courses? For example, it's a year, you have to apply a year in advance when you're going for your for the master's program. So do you think a timeline, what kind of a timeline should they follow?
Yeah, definitely. Since like some most important thing is the course. So suppose like, and like as you know, like, there are variety of courses. Like for example, one area is entrepreneurship. Then in entrepreneurship also they have entrepreneurship in energy sector, entrepreneurship in like social entrepreneurship, like all these kind of things are there. So I think like by June or something, like we should be sure about what course we are going to pursue, and we know that there are four questions for the tuning and one statement of purpose for normal college. So I think like from June onward we should start preparing, because for example this year November 1st I think is the deadline for the chimney scholarship. So once you start preparing from June, and by August, June, July, August, if it's your first draft is ready, then definitely from August onwards, like you can work on it, like you can improve it. So that is for the particularly for the Chimney scholarship, where you have to mention like your three colleges and like three colleges, three courses, and four questions. So I think by August and or mid September, you should be which you should be ready with your application for the chimney. And as far as the colleges are concerned, then like definitely by December, and I think like you should submit to all the colleges, so that like in March, around March, April, around like chimney interview is called. So I think this can be one of the model timeline for the application process. What do you think?
6 to 8 months is a good timeline to sort of prepare your materials, get your letters of recommendation in time, and sort of apply for all the good colleges, as well as the fact that all the available scholarships as well. So there's so many scholarships now for the UK. You have the Commonwealth, you have the Commonwealth Shared, you have the Felix Scholarship, you have the Chieftain Scholarship, of course, and you have Rhodes for people who are eligible. With respect to the US, you have the Fulbright Scholarship, and then you have university-wide scholarships that are available for each of those universities that you sometimes get automatically considered for, and for some of those you have to apply separately. So research is very important in order to understand which course, which college, and which sort of scholarship one ought to apply to. Lastly, Samrat, with respect to your career as a civil servant, a lot of these students that we have at OP Jindal Open University are at that stage where they're deciding their careers. And today we have seen that a lot of lawyers, and for years together, lawyers appear for the civil services examination. So somebody who is in the second or third year of law school and is right about thinking about making a career in the civil services, what is your advice to them?
Civil services, like I think like I passed out in 2007. So there definitely like major changes have taken place after that. But like, still like there are three major the entire examination process is divided into three parts: the preliminary examination, the mains examination, and interview. So I think like all the three parts need a different kind of focus. For the prelims, I think people should be more like people should study objectively and gather more and more facts, and definitely they should subscribe to one of the monthly magazine, like, because there are a lot of information and a lot of analysis is available in that particular magazine. For example, Tukta, Darpan, or Civil Services Chronicle. So, and for the means part, like they should be very careful about the subject they are selecting. At the same time, I think like means is a examination of your writing skills, your analyzing skills, and that is a reflection of your personality. They try to judge like what are your views and what are your ideas about different things that are existing. And interview again, there is called a personality test. So it is a maybe like judgment of your personality. So if like that, then again like it needs a kind of a different kind of preparation. So those the students who are in like second or third years of their bachelor's, I think at the beginning of the third year or like after completion of the third year is the right time to start preparation for the civil services. And definitely coaching institutes, since they have like they are quite updated and like they have ready material and they have researched a lot for the entire examination process for last 20 years or 10 years. So coaching institutes are quite helpful because a fresh graduate or like a person who want to pursue career in the civil services, they, they allot a specific period of time, 2 years or 3 years or 4 years for this particular exam. Uh, so I think like subscribing to a good coaching institution is also important. Institute is also important, and and further, I think like the most important part is means, where you score and where the marks are counted. So for the means examination, at least 200 words or at least 300 words every person or every student should write every day, because ultimately that will help them in their final exams. So this is in nutshell what it is about civil services. uh, so that's it. Like one important question, one important issue is like people ask what course they have, what course they have opted for their graduation, whether they can choose that particular subject for their optional subject. So in some cases it is right. Some cases right means like some, in my opinion, some cases it is right. In some cases like they should think about the other subjects also, because for example, law is there, or for example, mathematics is there, or for example, any technical subject. Uh, I think like it is quite easier to choose a subject from humanities as compared to a technical subject for competing this particular exam.
That's very helpful. It's easier said than done because it's the most competitive exam in the world. But of course, if somebody puts their heart to it, there is a lot of material available, and one has to be start early in the process if one wants to appear for the civil services examination. Now over to Animesh, Professor Animesh. If you could take the Q&A session, please.
Thank you, Professor Shirin. Thank you, Mr. Rai. I think that was a very informative breakdown of the application process. So I'll very quickly, I think we had received a few questions and I kind of narrowed it down to 2 questions. So I'll just, one of the most asked questions is that students have been asking as to what should they be highlighting in their SOPs and their CVs for applying in an MSc program in public policy and management.
Yeah, thank you, Anish. Like about statement of purpose, what I told earlier also, that the thoughts and ideas should not be cluttered, and you should very well point down like what are your strengths, what are your academic areas of academic excellence, what are your areas of professional excellence, and you should devote dedicate a para for each of your strength, that in very first phase, and uh, then you can consolidate like a particular idea at a place, and then various round of editing, drafting, improving that particular first draft. So that is the way like everyone should start. In my case, I can tell you like since I'm an engineer, and I'm a civil servant, And so I dedicated one para, and then like I participated in a lot of cultural activities as well. I have written a book also. So so all these things I amalgamated in my statement of purpose. More, and apart from this, like why I want to pursue this particular course, why I have chosen this particular college, what are my future prospects, how I would like to how I would contribute uh, after doing this course. So these are the things like that I included in my statement of purpose.
I think that would be very helpful for them to understand, specifically in a public policy program. Another question is, of course, I think this kind of correlates to your experiences at KCL. The question is about career opportunities abroad, after doing such a program. You, of course, were already a civil services officer by then, but you must have had colleagues who, through this program, used it as a stepping stone for a career in public policy. So could you tell us a bit about how such a degree could help in building a career in public policy after doing it from KCA?
Yeah, career opportunities will entirely depend upon the course, because like now people are pursuing course which is close to their heart, in place of like whether the whether the job in the market are available or not. So the people for example, management is is a kind of a particular area where the jobs are already always available. So in London also, after completing the graduation or post-graduation from there, like you will have to struggle a bit, but definitely jobs are available over there. And as we can see, like public policy is one major area where in India there are a lot of job opportunities are emerging, and the prospects is increasing day by day. So if somebody is has done a public policy from London, definitely sooner or later that person will get absorbed into a kind of a good institution or in government or some agencies which are doing research work in public policies. So it will entirely depend on course to course. But for example, LLM, there are a lot of prospects. As we have seen in last 10 years, the scope of LLM or law field is day by day increasing in India, and a number of job opportunities are available now. Similarly, in UK also, once you have done a master's from UK, it opens up your prospect for the entire world. Like anywhere you can go and in that particular domain and pursue your career. Like I know some of my friends are trying in different countries, as well as like multilateral agencies like World Bank, UN, OECD, and so like you become a kind of a global professional, or you become a global person to get absorbed, I think. So that is the best advantage. And the kind of experience we have over there, that definitely widen our horizons and widen our expand our thinking process. So definitely it's a completely a transformational journey, I will say.
I think that I completely agree. I think any master's program abroad is such a life-changing experience, because of all the things that you have to do by yourself. You're left in a country all alone by yourself. Any parting thoughts that you have for our young colleagues who would be hoping to do a master's program or an MSc in the future? Any parting thoughts for our students who are attending this program?
Yeah, I think the students who are pursuing bachelor's or master's, they should try for this foreign education, because it's a life, as you said, Animesh, it's a life-changing experience, and we get to learn a lot of things within a span of 1 year. And you will come back as a completely different person. Your way of thinking will change. Your way of seeing things will change. And for this, the most important thing is again your statement of purpose. And for any scholarship, for example, choosing a scholarship, the 4 questions, and your thought should be, it should not be cluttered. It should be focused, and it needs like multiple round of drafting and improving the particular draft. So these are my last words on this particular thing.
I think that is very helpful. Thank you so much. Professor Shirin, would you like to have any closing remarks?
Yes, thank you, Professor Animesh. So there's a question by Ashwati. We dealt with it.
So I just received this question. So Ashwati wants to know a little bit about your shift from engineering, because you studied engineering and then went on to do the public service and then public policy. So a little shift of how a little understanding of how the shift was from engineering to public policy.
Okay. It was 2005 when I passed out from Delhi College of Engineering. So as you know, at that particular point of time, and I think right now also, most of us were preparing for either engineering or medicals. So I opted for engineering, and then the Delhi College of Engineering was one of the reputed institute at that time in India. Still it is. So after engineering, since I grew up in Chhattisgarh and Ambikapur, Bilaspur kind of cities where there's a lot of craze about the civil services, and every other parent want that their kids should prepare for that. And ultimately, after analyzing at some point of time in my life, I also realized that this is the service where I should be. So I started preparing for the civil services from the third year of my college. And about the subject selection, that is, my first subject was political science and international relations. So I came across few people who guided me that this would be the right subject, because it covers a major portion of general studies. So while preparing for this particular subject, I will also, my general studies paper will also get I'll get prepared for general studies paper. So that's the way. My second subject was literature, because I have a lot of interest in Hindi English literature. So then I got successful in civil services, and after that, because it is entirely based on ranking, so I got Indian Revenue Service income tax. And that time, getting successful was a big thing. So and because most of us prepare for the Indian Administrative Service, but all other services have a kind of a different charm, different perks, different work profile. So I after working some time in Indian Revenue Service, I found it quite impressive. So then since I told in the beginning of the program that I have this ambition of doing masters from any foreign institute, or one personal interest was that I don't want to go UK or London for just to stay for 10 days or 15 days. I wanted to go over there for a year or something like that. So then I got to know about Chimney scholarship and all these study prospects available over there. So then public policy is the area where if civil servants complete their masters in public policy or public policy and management kind of courses, then definitely help them in their career. LLM also help them in their career, but LLM is again constrain them to a particular field, that is law or legal matters. But public policy is where you can go in health also, where you can go in energy also, where you can go in revenue also. Any area you can go, because it is about how the public and how the policies should be framed, how it should be implemented, and all these things. So then I opted for public policy, and definitely everybody initially we aim for Oxford, Cambridge, or LSE. But after going over there, we realized that most of these colleges are almost equal, and King's particular has a different charm. It is one of the oldest university over there. They have the best infrastructure, state-of-art facilities. The faculty is also very very renowned, and have a good alumni profile. So all these things, and most important, it is very much enjoyable as compared to any other university over there. because it is located on Strand, the area that is called Strand. So that is close to London Eye and like most of the museums and galleries and eateries. So it was a wonderful experience over there. So that is entirely my journey so far.
No, I think going very briefly through your journey, in addition to, of course, your higher education, what is very impressive is the fact that you kept on, you opened up opportunities for yourself by learning new areas. First engineering, then the civil service, you have to study a plethora of subjects, and then study public policy. I think that pursuit of learning is so important at every phase, I think, which I think is the biggest takeaway for not only the students, but also for me personally. Thank you so much. Professor Shirin, any parting thoughts?
Thank you, Professor Animesh. Thank you, Samrat, for taking out the time and discussing in detail various aspects of your journey. I'm sure students are going to benefit from your experience and also the fact that you have the zeal for learning academically and progressing professionally. We wish you all the best for your professional journey ahead, and we hope you keep coming back and speaking about various aspects of your journeys and enriching the lives of our students, contributing towards institution building at Open the Global University. We were glad to have you, and we hope we can do a full-fledged session on civil services sometime soon, so that students who are interested in pursuing civil services are able to hear about what it takes to be a civil servant. And even after that, your curiosity keeps on continuing, which is very inspiring. And somebody who would have cracked the civil services would think this is done and set for life, but you kept on pursuing your academic goals, and that is truly inspirational. Thank you, Samrat. It was lovely having you and lovely conversing with you about the various aspects of your journey.
Thank you, Shireen, for giving me an opportunity to share my experiences. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you to the attendees. The webinar for today is ended. Thank you.